Hello, and welcome to our lesson on understanding division. As with multiplication, we'll break this technique into 3 lessons. In this lesson, our primary focus will be on understanding how division represents dividing an amount into equal parts. In this lesson, we'll introduce the concept of division using simple, relatable examples. In our previous lessons, we've gained familiarity with positive integers and how they interact under multiplication. We've learned how to use these integers to form products and understand how multiplication helps in repeated addition. Now, with this foundation, we can introduce the concept of division. By understanding this operation, we'll be better equipped to handle a variety of problems, thus ensuring we can approach them with confidence and efficiency. Let's begin this exciting journey into the world of division. Let's dive into the concept of division through an intuitive example. Imagine that you have 10 apples and 5 bags. You want to put these apples into the bags such that each bag contains the same number of apples. Using intuition, you could start by placing 1 apple in the first bag, 1 apple in the second bag, and so on until each bag has 1 apple. After that, place another round of 1 apple in each bag until you run out of apples. After distributing all 10 apples, each of the 5 bags ends up with exactly 2 apples. Alternatively, you could solve this problem using simple division. Simply take the total number of apples, 10, and divide it by the number of bags, 5. 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2. This tells us immediately that each bag should contain 2 apples. This introduces to us the concept of division as sharing into equal parts. Instead of repeatedly adding apples to each bag, division provides a quick and effective way to determine how many apples go into each bag. Division thus simplifies the process of sharing. Rather than repeatedly distributing items one by one, a single division operation gives us the answer directly. This makes division a very powerful mathematical tool. Let's now introduce some important terms and symbols related to division. The division symbol looks like this. It can also be shown as a /. The dividend is the number that you want to divide. In our previous example, our dividend was 10 apples. The divisor is the number by which you are dividing. In our previous example, our divisor was 5 bags. And finally, the quotient is the result of the division. So in our previous example, our quotient was 2 apples per bag. Finally, let's note some important details of division. Firstly, the concept of non-integer division. This is that sometimes division does not result in whole numbers. For example, if you have 11 apples and 5 bags. Following the first method, sharing one by one, each bag will get 2 apples, but you will have 1 apple left over. We call this leftover the remainder. In this case, the remainder is equal to 1. Alternatively, after sharing one by one and each bag receiving 2 apples, you could choose to split your remainder. So here you would split your remaining apple into 5 equal parts called fifths and put 1/5 into each bag. This is termed splitting leftovers. Finally, let's note the idea of handling non-integer quotients. When the quotient is not an integer, we can either work with a remainder or use fractions or decimals to express the result. For instance, 11 divided by 5 is equal to 2.2 if it is expressed as a decimal. We will look into decimals and fractions in detail later on in this unit, so do not worry if you are confused about the notation. The right approach to take depends on your specific context. For example, if you are distributing money, fractions make sense, since money is an entity that can be split into smaller units. However, if you are distributing items like dogs or apples, you often use whole numbers and deal with any leftovers separately using remainders. Let's take distributing money as an example. If you have £11 and 5 people, each person gets £2.20. Let's take a second example where we are distributing dogs. If you have 5 kennels and 11 dogs, there will be 2 dogs in each kennel, with 1 dog left over. While today's focus is on understanding the basic concept of division, we will delve into how to handle non-integer results in more detail in a future lesson. In today's lesson, we explored the concept of division as the sharing of an amount into equal parts. Division is a fundamental process in mathematics. We began by introducing division through a relatable example, distributing 10 apples into 5 bags. This showed us that each bag receives 2 apples. This example highlighted how division simplifies the process of sharing by providing a quick and effective solution. We then discussed the essential terminology of division, including the division symbol, dividend, divisor, and quotient. We also examined cases where division results in non-integer outcomes, using an example with 11 apples and 5 bags. Here, we introduced the concept of remainders and how division can yield whole numbers with leftovers, or be expressed as fractions and decimals. Context-based approaches were discussed, illustrating how different scenarios might require different handling of remainders or non-integer quotients. By understanding these fundamental principles and techniques, you are now better equipped to tackle a wide range of mathematical problems involving division. This knowledge forms a solid foundation for future learning, where we will delve deeper into more complex aspects of division and its applications. Watch the rest of the GCSE Maths course at Sophos Education.